This is 3 miles from this. And if you go a little further, you'll end up here in one of the East Coast's most dangerous cities.
If that person is looking for somebody with a camera, gonna try to take your camera.
We're in Southwest Connecticut, and in this video, we investigate the country's most extreme wealth gap. Connecticut has the second highest level of wealth inequality in the US. And our first stop, Norwalk, embodies this inequality perfectly. On one side of Norwalk, you have extreme wealth.
The average house is about 2 to 2.5 million. Some of those are private islands.
And on the other side, you have projects in a Hispanic Hood.
We're within 2 miles of South Norwalk, which is the poorest area. And we are 2 to 3 miles away from a low-income housing project. That's kind of Norwalk in a nutshell.
From where?
De Mexico.
Dominican Republic.
Colombia.
Colombia?
De Colombiano, Venezuela, no, not good. The Mexican much better, you know. That is the best. Because of black people, you know, in the gang. Contigo yo soy feliz.
In recent years, Hispanic migrants have poured into Norwalk. In 2000, it was 15% Hispanic. Now it's 30%.
30 years ago, maybe there were 2 Mexican restaurants in Norwalk. Now there are 40. And again, not Mexican, but Peruvian, Colombian,
Latino restaurants.
Yeah.
Schools and things like Little League have changed too.
For the schools, it's just under 65% Latino. Latinos are more into soccer than, let's say, baseball or lacrosse.
It wasn't clear how many of the migrants in Norwalk arrived illegally, but we do know that an estimated 150,000 of the 600,000 Hispanics living in Connecticut are illegal immigrants. And with nearby towns like Greenwich and Darien, there's an underground economy well suited for them.
¿Tienes trabajo o no? Sí. ¿Dónde? ¿Qué tipo?
Los fines de semana, en un bar.
I have a business. My brother, he have a liquor store. My sister, she have a coffee store.
Now, before we go to Bridgeport, Connecticut's biggest city and a former manufacturing hub, we must say that Norwalk felt more like a town than a city. Very friendly, very united.
Biggest difference is here, your elected leaders are kind of accessible.
So we put that to the test.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for your time talking to us today.
My pleasure.
Do you view inequality inherently as a bad thing? There's mansions and poor housing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. I believe that government should be helping people of less means in a certain way. They are a cost to government and therefore a cost to everybody. So it's in our best interest to make sure that people are able to have that living wage.
We also asked the mayor what to expect in Bridgeport.
I don't know how many people live in poverty in Bridgeport. Probably there's more people living in poverty or at or below the level of poverty than in Norwalk.
We ended our time in Norwalk, and then we drove 15 miles to Bridgeport, a former center of manufacturing that declined starting in the 50s and in the 2010s was one of the 10 most dangerous cities in the US. But before we visit Bridgeport, please make sure to subscribe to this channel where we capture the world without bias or fear. My name is Max Toohey, and I had the idea for Roca alongside the other Max Frost, who's currently reporting from Pakistan. We launched Roca almost 5 years ago, and today have over 2 million readers across our Instagram and newsletters. Our #1 focus is this YouTube channel, and if you support our mission, please make sure to subscribe. Now back to Bridgeport. We are in Bridgeport, Connecticut. It used to be one of the manufacturing capitals of New England and the arms capital of the US. Manufacturing left, and we're gonna see what's in the void today. You might not think of Connecticut as a manufacturing state, but that's exactly what it was in the early 20th century.
Connecticut had been predominantly a manufacturing state.
And with steam, the great new source of power, industries began to flourish. And by the turn of the century, Bridgeport was well established as an important industrial center.
Almost 3/4 of Connecticut workers used to have industrial jobs, and Bridgeport in particular was a tech hub. It's home to the first electric plug outlet, the first mutual telephone exchange, the first Frisbee, and even the first subway. During World War I, Bridgeport produced so much ammunition that it was called the Arsenal of Democracy. But in the 1950s, companies outsourced jobs and eventually shuttered their doors. Behind us is essentially the story of Bridgeport, Connecticut. This used to be the sprawling home of Bryant Electric, which in the early 20th century employed 1,700 workers. In the 1970s, they decided to move these jobs places that didn't have unions, that could pay lower wages. That building right there, Lewin & Sons, it's been out of business since the 1950s. There's a home building company. It's been shut down for 70 years and not replaced.
Bridgeport doesn't have that work infrastructure like that.
I mean, it used to be a lot of businesses here. I guess they left.
All the manufacturing companies that were here moved. I don't know why they left. Question is, why haven't they come back? What is the mayor doing to try to get those manufacturing businesses back?
In this entire area, it's just mostly deserted. Empty yards, shuttered buildings, and overall just a shell of what it used to be. We learned that this factory used to be a coal power plant. Now it's empty, and its demolition is coming later this year. And although crime has slowed, it remains at high levels in Bridgeport, including in City Hall.
But our mayor, convicted felon. So he was the mayor, he got arrested, he did his time, came out, ran, and got elected mayor again.
Former mayor and convicted felon Joe Ganim appears on the verge of the biggest political comeback in state history.
There is an element of redemption in all this. It's real, and it's human, and it applies to every one of us.
But the voters of Bridgeport have given him an absolute mandate to govern, a mandate for the second chance they clearly believe that he deserves.
Another stereotype about Connecticut that Bridgeport shadows is that the city is not vanilla. In fact, it's only 16% white.
Mexican, Ecuadorians, Nicaraguans.
We are a melting pot. We're very close to New York City.
Hispanics, they've always been around.
The residents show a completely different side of Connecticut, which we will reveal after we tell you about the presenting sponsor of this video, American Financing. The reality is that most of us don't have the kind of money to live in places like the nice side of Norwalk. Instead, we have credit card debt, medical debt, and car loans. Well, great news for you. If you're a homeowner, American Financing helps you save money on that debt by using your home's equity and rolling up all that high-interest debt into one simple, affordable payment. American Financing, which has been around for a quarter of a century, based in Omaha and is family-owned, saves homeowners an average of $800 a month. Their mortgage consultants are salary-based, so they're not peddling any sort of commission structure that pushes you into a loan that doesn't make sense. There are also zero upfront or hidden fees. And if you start today, you may be able to delay your next 2 mortgage payments. To get started, visit AmericanFinancing.net/RocaNews or call 866-889-1994. That's 866-889-1994. Thank you, and now back to Bridgeport. What is Bridgeport like?
It's different. The police and how they operate, it can be a little bit better. They're a little more lax.
Certain areas is rougher than others.
Yeah.
It can only get better. It can't get no worse than what it is. You know what I mean?
Bridgeport was crazy. Drugs was rampant, gangs and things of that nature. Crack, heroin, all the drugs that's popular, it's gonna be popular here.
Unlike Norwalk and Bridgeport, there's hardly any high-end wealth. It's almost all low-end, and the low end is even lower than Norwalk. Their most notorious neighborhood is the East Side.
The rep on the East Side, wow. You're gonna see, I don't want to sound offensive, but it's different over there.
It's different.
Police activity, as far as patrolling, is pretty often over there. But when you go over there, you'll see like, wow, like the housing, just like, it's bad.
Okay, so we are not in Greenwich anymore. Now we're in a place where the median household income is $27,000 per year. So in Greenwich, we saw a Lamborghini car dealership, an Aston Martin car dealership, a Porsche car dealership, and now that we're in Bridgeport, Connecticut, just 20 miles away, you don't have car dealerships, but what you do have are a lot of lots with barbed wire fencing. Is it safe here? What's the vibe like?
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. It's not that. It's
What do you think of Bridgeport?
It's great.
It's a great place?
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Here.
I love it.
I love it.
Has it
too.
changed?
Look at my good side.
One thing you hear a lot about is like a lot of drugs out here. Is that true?
Yeah, that's pretty true. What I want to say is probably like marijuana. Obviously, we've got a couple dispensaries here. There's a little bit of hard stuff, you know. I don't really want to go into details. There's a lot of stuff out here.
The thing that's interesting about Connecticut is it does well in almost every well-being metric, like education, financially, it does very well. But on the drug issue,
it's really behind. Like, it's between Pennsylvania and Maryland in the top 15 for highest addiction and overdose rates. So it has a really bad drug issue, and we just talked to someone who's clearly on something. What are the best places to sleep in Bridgeport as a homeless person?
The hospital.
The hospital's a good place? Yeah. Do churches help out?
Like certain churches help out, but most of the churches right around here, they don't have the funding. Knowledge is everything.
Knowledge is everything.
And stupidity is an option.
It's an option.
In the era of YouTube.
It was hard to believe that just miles away from this street corner existed this. But that's the reality of Fairfield County, Connecticut, and to a lesser extent, a growing reality in America. On the one hand, the U.S. has spectacular levels of wealth. If the UK joined the U.S., it would be the 51st richest state in terms of GDP per capita, poorer than Mississippi and Arkansas. But the poverty rate in the UK is lower than in the U.S. In other words, America has much more wealth, but also more inequality. Some say it's okay and that our poor are still better off than the poor of most other developed countries, while others say it's unjust and this wealth needs to be redistributed. And you know, Darien, Greenwich, there's extreme wealth there. What do you think of it?
Stupid people, you know, you know. Only I wanted money. I wanted money, and they don't give it the poor people, you know.
We ended our Bridgeport trip by visiting the first subway. And what felt like a metaphor for the city itself, the first location was gone and had moved across the street.
All right, so this might look like an ordinary strip mall that has no significance to your life. This is actually the location of the first subway in the country. It was called Pete's Submarines at first. They eventually moved locations to cross the street. This is also how this area has changed a lot. It's gotten a lot more Hispanic. You can see Asamblea de Deus above there. There's a Mexican restaurant in the corner. You just walk around the corner and they've got that other subway now.
Bridgeport has, as I say, a lot of potential.
The living and the work hasn't caught up to what they're trying to turn Bridgeport into.
It's beautiful here. Like, I like it.
Yes, Bridgeport fell on a slump for a minute. You know, it could be a comeback, you know, like anything else.
Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe to the channel to watch our next video on Connecticut's Ivy League ghetto, along with more content from Pakistan.